Now, what is it that makes an airplane fly? Paperwork. Hey, we're going to be talking about the exciting world of paperwork today. Welcome to the superpilotish channel. My name is Graham Wilson, and today in my basement, I'm going to be telling you all about the wonderful world of airworthiness directives. And I found that out because I am an aircraft media expert today. Well, I'm more of an expert than like people on the news, and because I'm a pilot, and so we're just going to talk about some aviation news. And I was looking into that on my computer today, and there we go. So we'll start with the news, and then we'll get to kind of what the news is about. And this should be interesting. It's going to be a pretty pilot intensive show today. If you're a non-pilot, yeah, you might get a few things in there. I always try to kind of throw a few non-piloty things in my show. Actually, a lot of times it's non-piloty anyways, but okay, let's get to it. To the news. I'm typing on my old typewriter. Okay. Actually, I printed it up on my old printer. Okay. So the headline was, and this was from flightglobal.com. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check into it to make sure I'm not fake news. Okay, the headline is cracked power levers prompt FAA to order sweeping CIrrus SR inspections. So a CIrrus SR, that's it's a type of airplane. It's a little airplane. Okay, so let's get to the news. The Federal Aviation Administration has issued sweeping inspection requirements after learning that power levers, should I call them levers or levers? I'll call them levers. I think levers is more British. We're kind of 50-50 over here in Canada. Okay, power levers in nearly 30 CIrrus SR series single engine aircraft had developed cracks. Ooh. The FAA in a new airworthiness directive set to take effect in 15 days. Okay, so 15 days from December 5th. So it's at the 20th. You better get your plane fixed up if you own a CIrrus. Okay. Okay. Set effect to take in 15 days, will order operators to inspect upper power levers on some 6,811 aircraft registered in the USA, including SR-20s, SR-22s, and SR-22Ts. The agency issued the AD Airworthiness Directive as an immediate effective rule, bypassing its typical process of accepting public comments prior to finalizing a rule. Yeah, so the FAA in the States, actually any regulating agency in the world, so they can just go like, whoa, nope, you're doing this or you're not flying. So they can all do that on a whim. It's usually because they have a reason. They're not going to do it on a whim, but they could theoretically. They have a lot of power with that amount of regulation, and that's actually pretty good for the flying public and everything like that. So, okay, so if you're non-pilot, just be rest assured, everybody's got the paperwork backing you up here. Okay, the article continues. The FAA received a report that a CIrrus model SR-20 airplane was involved in an incident where the upper power lever failed while advancing to full throttle in preparation for takeoff, the FAA writes. Okay, so involved in an incident. Oh, is that scary? Well, it's not an accident. There's a difference between an incident and an accident. So if it's an incident, it's usually something that that could get worse if we don't watch it. So or it was handled. There was no damage to the aircraft. There's no damage to people. There was no damage to a building. There was it was just like no harm, no foul. I guess it'd be kind of like if you got like a flat tire in your car, you're driving down the road. Hey, my car is kind of pulling to the right a little bit, and you pull over. Oh yeah, it's flat tire. Okay, that's not an accident, right? It's just kind of like, well, you stick on a new tire and away you go. And that same thing with airplanes. If you get a flat tire, that's an incident, not an accident. So no paperwork involved with that, unless it's internal paperwork. Okay. That aircraft's pilot successfully aborted the takeoff. So he went to go advance the power, full power to take off. Something was weird with the lever. He said, okay, yeah, we'll just stop it here on the airport and taxi back, get it checked out. So good on that pilot. After the incident, an additional 26 upper power levers have been reported to have cracks, the FAA says. Now, I've never actually seen a CIrrus power lever, but they look like they're kind of made out of probably a combination of plastic and maybe aluminum. But yeah, plastic cracks. Okay, CIrrus did not immediately respond for a request for comment. The company sought to address the concern by issuing a service bulletin on the 29th of October. So the company said, hey, we better put out a service bulletin about that. It's not just a one-off here. We better tell people. So I'll get into what the difference between a service bulletin and an airworthiness directive is. Okay, the bulletin applied only to certain airplane serial numbers. So they maybe they got like a bad batch from a manufacturer. That happens sometimes. And called for inspections of only levers with 2,000 or more flight hours. Okay, so it might have been a very well-worn, high time throttle lever. The FAA's order is broader and requires inspection sooner. Okay, so CIrrus came out with a service bulletin. Hey guys, watch out for this. Then the FAA said, nah, you guys are definitely going to look out for this now in 15 days. So get it fixed up by December 20th. Okay, the FAA's initial analysis based on cracked data from the reported incidents shows this condition could occur on airplanes with 1,200 hours time in service accumulated on the upper power lever, the agency says. So I guess to be 1,000 hours on your plane, that's still relatively new. The order requires operators to complete visual inspections and to replace levers found to have cracks. If visual inspections do not reveal cracks, operators will also need to complete fluorescent penetrant inspections. So that's NDT, non-destructive testing. Yeah, that's where so you could say, hey, there's no crack on this lever here, and then they shoot it up with this kind of like we'll say a fluorescent liquid, and if there is any cracks, it goes into any little tiny cracks that you can't see with the naked eye, and you take a UV light and you shine that on it, and then away you go. It's like you'll see it pop right up and say, oh, I didn't see that crack. Okay, these cracks have only been discovered on upper power levers that include a takeoff go around switch. So there's like another switch that you can, if you're going to be, maybe you don't want to land and you're doing IFR flying, you hit that and then it does other things. We'll put it that way. I won't get into toga switches too much. Okay, this condition, if not addressed, could result in loss of engine thrust control and reduced control of the airplane. Yeah, I'd say if you didn't have a throttle, you could have reduced control of your airplane. True. Okay, so there we go. So I did a little bit more research. So that was on flightglobal.com. And then, so it's like, what, because every once in a while I kind of check it out. Like, what's the difference between a service bulletin and an airworthiness directive? So I did like a quickie Google search here, and I found this company called Covington Aircraft. It looks to me like they kind of repair engines and overhaul engines and stuff like that. They're down in Oklahoma, and they had this on their website, covingtonaircraft.com. I'm just kind of checking it out here. It's actually titled, what are the differences between service bulletins and airworthiness directives? So I'll kind of go off of their website. And as the aircraft media expert here, I will say, yeah, these guys, this is a good little description that they have on their website. So an airworthiness directive, or AD as we'll call it, is a directive issued when the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, realizes that a perilous condition exists in a product. So that could be aircraft engine, airframe, appliance, or propeller, or your throttle lever. They notify aircraft operators and owners of potentially unsafe conditions requiring special inspections, alterations, or repairs. A service bulletin, or SB, service bulletin, is a notice to an aircraft operator from a manufacturer. So it's not from the government, it's from the manufacturer, informing him or her of a product improvement. Or an alert service bulletin is issued when an unsafe condition shows up that the manufacturer believes to be safety related as opposed to a mere product improvement. So it kind of went on in the website there to describe that a service bulletin, they can call it an alert service bulletin or something service bulletin, but the bottom line is that the service bulletin is not mandatory. Hey, you definitely have to do this or you can't fly the plane. So it's from the manufacturer, they're recommending it. But the one thing that I kind of remember from before, according to the Covington website, what do we got here? It was so just because the FARs, so federal aviation regulations don't necessarily demand an aircraft owner comply with service bulletins, does this imply that an aircraft owner or operator can just ignore the service bulletins? Not necessarily. The inaction may come back to haunt the aircraft owner at some time in the future. Therefore, it's always important to keep in mind that manufacturers issue service bulletins because they believe compliance will make the product safer. So, so what happens here, and I'll just kind of paraphrase the article, is that so you got a service bulletin comes out from whatever manufacturer of the airplane. Could be a big one like Boeing or Airbus or anything like that. And they say, hey guys, watch out for this. But what usually happens is they're doing that, and then the regulatory authorities, they're already working on producing an airworthiness directive. So be like, hey guys, watch out for this. And then the government goes, ooh, let's do some paperwork. Let's make it mandatory. So it takes a little while. They get more information from the manufacturer. So it's all legal and everything and good. And they'll say, how serious is this? Well, it could be serious. Okay. So if there's a service bulletin that comes out from the manufacturer, you can kind of bet that there's going to be a mandatory airworthiness directive coming later. So if you get a notice from the manufacturer, yeah, pay attention to it. Now in my car, I don't care. I'm not up in the air. So it's like I get these little notifications from Volkswagen saying, oh, there's something with my shifter or something where I could cut myself on some plastic or something like that. But it's like, what do you do? You're going to be breaking it and cutting yourself with plastic. But there is some thingamajig there that I should get fixed up on my car, but I'm the only one that drives it. So I just won't. I won't break it. How's that sound? But yeah, I don't know. That's for me. And worst comes to worst, I get a scratch on my hand. But if you're on an airplane, you hear something from Boeing or you hear something from CIrrus about this throttle lever, you might want to get it kind of checked out. So yeah, so there we go. Oh yeah, you might want to get it checked out because soon it's going to become mandatory that you do. And then I was thinking also, I have heard about it in the past. Like I've never actually owned an aircraft, but I've heard about it before where when airworthiness directives come out, say you have like a really common airplane like a Cessna 172 or something that's pretty common. Even the CIrruses, they're doing pretty good sales these days. If you don't take care of the service bulletin first, you just wait. We'll wait till we'll see. Maybe they don't make it totally mandatory. What can happen is that if there's a very popular type of airplane out there and all of a sudden it says, boom, you're not flying unless you get this checked out by a mechanic. Well, everybody rushes to the mechanics and they're all swamped and backed up. I think that happened a few years ago with, don't quote me on it, but it seems to me there was an airworthiness directive on the spar of a Piper Arrow, I think it was, where there was corrosion on there and a plane's wing broke off. So they were like, whoa, let's check this corrosion here. Mandatory, boom. And it seems to me the mechanics got kind of backed up when that airworthiness directive came in. So there we go. Take care of maintenance on your plane. It's most people don't realize that if you buy a plane, it's kind of like signing up for a part-time job, because you got to deal with paperwork and airworthiness directives and all that stuff, and you as the owner you're responsible for that kind of thing. And let's just say you're a passenger, you want to sound like cool, really cool, for the non-pilots that have made it this far into the show. If you're flying with some pilot or something like that with a little, I don't know, some little plane or something like that, you can say, hey, have you complied with all of the ADs on the plane, all the airworthiness directives? And if the pilot goes like, what's that? You might want to reconsider going flying with the pilot. But realistically, most people, if they just go rent a plane, they don't know about that stuff. It's like, it's a responsibility of the people renting out the plane to the owner of the plane to take care of that stuff, not the renter. But even if you are a pilot, you should be able to kind of take a look at what is it? There is a website. I wish I could come to the top of my head, but generally, you kind of go talk to the chief or the chief pilot or whoever and say, hey, are all the ADs up to date? If the chief pilot doesn't know or doesn't know who to call for that, the maintenance might be a little shabby there. But I mean, to tell you the truth, I really haven't been up on that stuff. I would check it once a year when I was in charge and be like, yeah, everything's good. And I talked to our mechanic and person responsible for maintenance, and like, okay, well, he says we're good. I checked it out. Yeah, it looks like we're pretty good to me. There we go. And if it's a common airplane, the word will get out. So take care of your CIrrus there, CIrrus owners. And oh, hey, Shecky, greetings to you too. I'm pretty lonely in my basement here, except for Shecky showing up. So, and I'm almost done now anyhow, because it's the weekend, but we'll give Shecky a little shout out here. So greetings to you, Shecky. And so yeah, just a little one here today. I was getting all kind of piloty, and I don't know, not that super exciting for non-pilots, but hey, it is the super pilot-ish show, so we got to keep it a little bit aviation related. I can't just go and talk about like the peregrine falcon that I saw the other day flying around with a little bird in its claw, and then it landed on a branch with still hanging onto the bird. So I don't know, like you would think the peregrine falcon would keep the bird that it got in its beak, and you could have two claws to hang on. But you see, I'm not going to talk about the peregrine falcon that I saw the other day that was flying around with a little mini bird, a little tiny bird in its other claw. But anyways, yeah, there's a peregrine falcon that lives in an apartment on the top of an apartment building around here. It's kind of neat when it shows up. You'll see that maybe it'll zip through our backyard here, and then like all the little birds, they kind of go rah, rah, and it's like when the peregrine falcon's just sitting in a tree or something, there's no little birds around at all. It's like the word gets out, falcon around, get out of here. So it's pretty cool, and I've never seen one land carrying something, so that's pretty wild. Anyways, it's like me walking in the back door with my groceries and my keys or something. Like, why would I still have my 2 bags of groceries and keys to try to undo the lock? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, so that's about it. It is the weekend here coming up, so we'll just kind of what am I at, 19 minutes now? We'll just kind of start the weekend. I got some stuff I got to do. I got a new game too. I found this little game called Swordigo, like a sword. Actually, I'll give a little shout out to Swordigo while Shecky's here. Okay, it's spelled like this. It's a pretty good game. I found it out if you're on an airplane or something like that. You can play it if your phone is in airplane mode, so you don't need the internet for it. Swordigo. All right. Swordigo. You download that video game, and it is like it's just this nice little. You're running around, and you can use your little sword, or you can use I don't know, shoot like a kind of a lightning bolt and kill monsters and go to next levels and stuff. And I played that for a couple hours on the plane on the way back from El Salvador, and like there's And if you play it in airplane mode, there's no ads that show up. A lot of these free games you download, there's like ads that pop in. So so after this afternoon, I'm going to play a little bit of Sortigo on my phone, because I'm kind of, I try to stay away from video games because they're so addictive. And I just had to kill some time on the phone on the way back from El Salvador, or like doing something. And yeah, but I mean, that's a great little game for if you're on an airplane for the holidays, traveling somewhere. Yeah, it's put your phone in airplane mode, no advertising, and just sit there and kill monsters. That's pretty cool. So I might do that. Although, yeah, so what did I do? I had to find a sword the other day, but turns out the monster broke up the sword into 3 different shards, and now I got to go find some king somewhere. Got my afternoon really cut out for me until I get bored of this thing. Okay, so anyways, yep, that's about it. Today is Friday, pizza day. Excellent. I'm gonna order pizza tonight. And yeah, what do we got here? So I'll be back on Monday, because I do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And we'll just kind of shut her down. So thanks for showing up in the chat there, Shecky. And everybody else, have a really great weekend, and thank you for watching. Bye.